All right, back with you, San Diego sports leader. It is the Mighty 1090, Darren Smith, as we broadcast live on our final day from the Peoria Sports Complex up here on the second deck. Padres in action right now as of this moment. But tomorrow, a lot of eyeballs and a lot of ears on the Mighty 1090. San Diego State is getting set to take their 40-game California winning streak on the road to Fresno State, a team that is pistol hot right now inside of the Mountain West Conference. It is always our pleasure when we are joined by Steve Fisher. He's the head coach at San Diego State. Coach, thank you very much for the time.
Hi, Darren. My pleasure. And we've got windy weather here, too, but as we talked off the air, got a little blowing rain along with it. So you're probably a little better off than we are today.
Well, I hope that doesn't affect your travel plans whatsoever, as you guys are still in San Diego, but you're getting set to go up to Fresno, so hopefully that doesn't mess with you guys too much.
No, I don't think it will. We've practiced at 1 o'clock, and we're going to charter up there and back because it's a hard place to get to. It's a long bus ride, and it's through L.A. if you want to fly, and you got to get transferred to the commuter airport. So we're going to go out of Willard Airport in El Cajon, and hopefully we'll have no major issues.
Well, Coach, I really thought coming off the game that you guys had against New Mexico, we talked about this earlier in the week. We talked about this with Dutcher earlier in the week. I know you were on the radio talking about it. Just overall, I mean, how important was it for you guys, not just standings, but to get that win against San Jose State, just to get the bad taste out of your mouth?
It was extremely important. Obviously, we are in a dead heat with New Mexico as we speak. But almost as important, the number one thing is to get a win. The way we got the win felt good for everybody. And I mentioned after the game, I didn't think we had any lulls to speak of. We played really hard and were very effective from the opening tip until the very last whistle and buzzer.
Well, I shouldn't assume, I guess, that the bad taste was out of your players' mouths after that New Mexico game. So let me backtrack a second on that. I mean, did that win? I mean, as good as it was and as well as you played in 90-64, did it take the bad taste out of your players' mouths, in your opinion?
I think that what we've really done a good job on is kind of looking right down our nose and see what's there. It will be revisited on March 7th and 6th before we play them on the 8th in the last game. But I think right now we feel good about ourselves. We now have put full attention to a very good Fresno State team. I really don't think that we have any residual at all referencing the spanking that we took at New Mexico.
Talking to Steve Fisher, head coach, San Diego State, Aztecs, Fresno State coming up tomorrow right here on the Mighty 1090. Coach, it's an interesting time of the year because you have 3 regular season games to go. A difficult one tomorrow. I mean, they're all difficult, but at the end of the year, you get New Mexico. Then you have the Mountain West Conference Tournament, and then waiting for you is the NCAA. As a coach, how much do you want to push your team now to finish the regular season strong, knowing that you have these really, really important games in conference tournaments and NCAAs? How are you managing just your players and their stamina after having already played 26, 27 games so far?
We've done a good job, I believe, Darren, in terms of how we practice, even though I would say we're probably on the long end of the February practices, the way most people do it. We don't have our top 6 or 7 or 8 do every rep. We've got a lot of depth, and we might be out on the court for an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes sometimes, but sometimes it's just kind of watching, learning by watching, those sorts of things. But to be honest, we're full throttle in terms of what our focus is. We want to win the conference. And I know New Mexico does also. They're the defending conference champions, and we're right there with 3 games to go. So believe me when I tell you this, we are not at all thinking who might we play in the conference tournament, where might we be seeded, where would we go. We are really, really focusing on let's win the next one and then the next one and then the next one.
And then you'll worry about the conference tournament, and you'll worry about the postseason tournament, the NCAA tournament, when those moments happen. You worry about that at the time, not today.
You have to. And if we win, obviously, the seeding will take care of itself and be helpful in terms of where you go. The conference tournament is always interesting. Again, and you know my stance, I'm not a proponent of playing it at the Thomas and Mack where Vegas plays their games. I think Vegas is an ideal site, but we should have been the first to go to the MGM Grand rather than the Pac-12. I suggested it, and they said it couldn't be done, and now it's done. But I'm venting to you. I have not mentioned it, nor will I mention it to our team. But there are a lot of teams as we go into that conference tournament. There will be 5 teams legitimately that could win that conference tournament. So it's always interesting, and I think it will prove to be so again.
Conference tournaments are always an interesting conversation at any rate, and certainly I'm not trying to look past Fresno here or New Mexico or Air Force, Coach, but just the overall idea about how much importance is placed on a conference tournament when you're in a position like you guys are in. I mean, everybody thinks you guys are going to the tournament anyhow. So, how do you manage that, having to play that many nights in a row, and then you still have the bigger prize waiting on the other side of that event?
We want to play Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in Vegas. We want to be playing in that championship game. We've done it before, and it has had no impact on being prepared and ready to play when you go to the NCAA tournament. Your point is well taken in terms of when you play 3 games in 3 days, to make sure you have rested legs and physically and mentally you're ready to go. Mentally, you're going to be ready to go, but you are okay physically. So when we get over to Vegas, if we continue to win, they give you a shoot around. If we use it, it would just be go walk through, that sort of thing. We would do nothing to take away their legs at that time when we know we're going to have to play three games back to back to back. But we're excited right now to finish this regular season, these last 3 games, and we're excited to do it in fine fashion. We want to go up, continue the California win streak at Fresno, go to Vegas on Wednesday, and finish at home on the 8th of March against New Mexico.
Talking to Steve Fisher, head coach, San Diego State. Aztecs taking on the Bulldogs tomorrow night on the Mighty 1090. There's been so much discussion about Xavier Thames, Coach, and I'm sure you're aware of it. 2 for 6 shooting the other night, but 5 assists, and the outstanding media relations manager, Mike May, that he is, pointed out this stat that his assist-to-turnover ratio has just been outstanding over the last couple of games. I guess when you're that good of a player, if you're in a shooting slump, you'd like to see them still contribute towards a win like Xavier has been able to do.
X has been a veteran who has, I think he's pressed a little bit. I think if he admitted it, he would admit that. But what he's not done, Darren, and it takes really a tough-minded, solid character, terrific person like Xavier Thames, he's not allowed that to affect everything else about his game. He's our best on-ball defender. He never gets screened. He's our best help defender. He leads us in assists, and as you said, he's gone, I think, 185 minutes without a turnover. So he's done all the other things. We need X to get comfortable in his own skin making his shots again. If we're going to make a run, if we're going to be as good as we can be, X needs to shoot the ball better. I know that. He knows that. But I also told the team, X is going to take more shots than anybody on the team. And with that comes responsibility not to take really, really hard shots. I think sometimes when you press, you do things that are a bit out of character. So you have to wait in position, and he's a 85% free throw shooter, so we've got to help him attack to the rim, get fouled, get to the free throw line, and see that ball go through the net. I think that's always helpful.
Talk to us a little bit about Fresno State. This is a team now that, as mentioned when we started, they are playing their best basketball of the year. You guys are walking into a tough gym tomorrow night.
We really are, Darren. They've won, as you know, 7 out of their last 8, and they lost the 2 before that at Vegas and home against Nevada, both in overtime. One double overtime, and Vegas overtime on the road. they're playing really good basketball. We beat them 68-60 here, and that was the biggest spread of the evening. They had a 7 or 8 point lead in the first half, and 8 points was the biggest spread that either team had. They present problems for you. They can shoot the ball from distance. They take and make more threes than anybody in our league. And Tyler Johnson and Harris are the two best at doing it. So we know this is going to be a tough game. We're going to need to be ready to play and play efficiently and with great energy and intelligence the whole game. I hear they are giving away tickets. They got Jerry Tarkanian night. He coached there in the twilight of his career, and I don't know if he's coming back or not. He must be if it's Jerry Tarkanian night. But they're honoring Tark, and it'll probably be the best crowd they've had all season, to be real honest with you.
You know, Coach, I don't want to miss this opportunity to ask you a question about something that happened in college basketball last night. And I'm sure you've seen the highlights with New Mexico State and Utah Valley. And, you know, you mentioned going into another gym, how big that crowd's going to be. That potential always exists that you now represent potentially the biggest win for a team that you face. You probably have seen what happened last night with this court storming. Your thoughts, just big picture about college basketball and the idea that teams get court stormed out there, because certainly, you know, that's you guys.
You know, I smile when you say that, and it is us now.
Yep.
Boise was poised to do it when we played them there. Wyoming did it when we played them there. And I think that this will be revisited at great length and at great depth, and you'll get coaches' reactions, and administrators. I'm in favor of going with the rule you absolutely cannot take the court after a game, period. End of discussion. It is proven to be not only stupid at times, but dangerous, and people can get injured in the melee. If that hadn't happened, if the court had not been stormed last night, New Mexico State would have dealt with a player that threw the ball at a guy. Nothing else would have happened. You know, I heard one guy say on TV, well, I think you should storm the court after every win. He did it somewhat tongue-in-cheek when North Carolina, of all teams, stormed the court when they beat Duke. To me, the Blue Bloods, that should be a mortal sin if they think about storming the court after beating anybody unless it's a national championship game. So I'm in favor of passing a rule where you cannot take the court.
Is it worrisome? I mean, as a coach, are you worried about your players in that moment there? Like, hey, where are they all? Who's accounting for all of our different guys as they're out there out and about and on the court?
It is. It's frightening. At New Mexico, when we weren't going to win the last 30 seconds and you could see them edging to the end of the court, we talked to the staff. I talked to the staff. Make sure you get our players. Keep them here, maybe usher them right into the locker room. Don't worry about a handshake line. Get them off the court as quickly as you can. Some of these games, as we all know, are ended with a buzzer shot that wins the game, and you see this activity happen, and it's crazy, and it's impactful. You saw what happened twice when Arizona played. When Arizona lost to Cal, they stormed the court. There's still time on the clock. When the same thing happened against Arizona State, it's for sure a safety issue that I think must be addressed.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up too, because I was watching that Arizona State game, and it went unnoticed. But somebody bumped one of the Arizona players, and a manager or a coach or somebody grabbed him before that escalated, and it got no attention whatsoever. But I saw it because I was watching that game, and I just said, man, this is. You know, as much as people can say it's fun and it's spontaneous, you know, it's dangerous down there. And, you know, you get a guy in an emotional moment and you're just asking for trouble, in my opinion. So I was glad to hear you say that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Coach, hopefully that doesn't happen to you guys. Good luck tomorrow night. We always appreciate your time. Safe travels, and we will talk to you next week, we hope.
Thank you, Darren. I know everybody will be listening on your station as we go up to play them. And big game, we need the fans to give us a little karma through the radio.
Well, we will do our best. Coach, thank you very much for the time.
All right, Darren. Thank you.